Hey guys, it's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. So my buddy Liberal Decay, Chris, he did a video about his Dreamcast collection. So I figured what better time than for me to do a video about my Dreamcast collection. So some of the things that I have that I don't have in front of me to show are the Dreamcast fishing rod, the extra memory cartridge with I think it's like 8 times the capacity, the a bunch of regular controllers for Dreamcast, the broadband adapter, which is on my system and I do use it from time to time, the dual analog joysticks that you use with, what's that mech game? Is it Techromancer? No, and it's not Frame Gride, it's something else, but the Japanese one with the mechs where you fly around and shoot each other. I can't think of the name, but I have the dual joysticks, and then I have a steering wheel that I think is by Mad Catz with, I think it's Mad Catz, with the brake pedal and the gas, and there's one more joystick I have. Oh, I have the arcade stick, which is pretty cool actually. So here's what I own for the Dreamcast. I don't think I'm missing anything. I think all my games are here. I think just some of the peripherals and hardware are elsewhere. So I'm going to start off big. The first thing is the DreamEye camera, which comes with the software. This is from Japan. This let people web chat and play little like mini games and draw and color on people's pictures. It was pretty cool back when it came out. As I said, I had to order this from Japan. This little camera, little thing you put the microphone into. I think there's a battery pack over here. So kind of an interesting idea. You know what would be interesting? I think I've seen this before though. People have shot full videos with this and then tried transferring them to YouTube. I think that would be kind of cool, you know, to do a whole video on the DreamEye. And now we're going to start pulling out the games. I got Toy Racer, which is an online, this is a European edition. This is an online game that works with the broadband adapter. I played it once or twice online. It's really fun. And, you know, you're like little miniature cars driving around a track trying to like hit each other and win the race. But I think this was a European exclusive, and since it's one of the ones that work with the broadband adapter, I picked it up. There's still a lot of games that work. A lot of them use DreamPie, which emulates the broadband adapter and the dial-up adapter, I believe. Some games work on just dial-up, some games work on just broadband, some games work on both. So it kind of depends, you have to do your research. But there are some good games online still, like Phantasy Star, and they keep pulling more out of the woodwork. I think Alien Front Online may have come back. There's another one recently, a racing one, that came back, so there's a lot. I'm going to try and go through these quickly, only because I have so many. Oh, by the way, I'm going to go through it quickly. Let me explain something. I used to own a Dreamcast back when I was about 19 years old, and I bought every game I saw. I eventually sold it all off, and then I rebought the Dreamcast because I missed it, and started collecting again. But now I only really collect things that I think I'm going to play, unless it's like a big lot of games and there's like a lot of stuff in it I want. For the most part, I just buy what I'm going to play. I don't really just like buy everything Dreamcast. Marvel vs. Capcom, the Japanese edition. I use the boot discs to play imports, and I have a VGA adapter that was made by Kaboo. I did a video about it years ago. So that's how my Dreamcast is hooked up to the TV. So as long as I can get the boot disc to work with the Japanese games, I usually buy Japanese if they're, you know, region friendly or English, you know, friendly, like you don't need to know the language. Alone in the Dark, The New Nightmare. This is the American version. I played this once. It was actually, I was impressed from what I played. I just didn't play a lot of it. Unreal Tournament, which is still, I think, online, if I recall correctly, with the broadband adapter, or maybe it isn't. Maybe Quake is. I don't know if Unreal is. I want to get Outrigger. That's one of the last games I want. And really the last game I want is Cannon Spike, or the Japanese rendition Gun Spike. That's like the holy grail of the final Dreamcast game I kind of want. Skies of Arcadia, which I played a good chunk of. Pretty good. I didn't love it, but people make a big deal out of it, so I wanted to try that out. NFL 2K1, this just whatever. Virtua Tennis. Super Speed Racing, which I think is under another name in America. This is the Japanese version. Soul Calibur, the Japanese version. Capcom vs. SNK Millennium Fight 2000, the Japanese version. This is really good. Capcom vs. SNK is one of my favorite fighting series. Zombie Revenge, which I love. This is an awesome, awesome arcade like beat 'em up. Hard, but really, really fun. Alien Front Online, which also has a microphone with it that you can use and, well, used to be able to use and chat with people while you were running around in this arena killing each other. I think this is back online now, I think, and I think it's only with the Dream Pi or dial-up. I don't know if it works for broadband. Headhunter, which is a European exclusive, and it eventually came to the PS2. I like exclusives. When they don't come out in America, I try to buy them. One that I bought that they sent me the wrong one was a pool game from this British famous like snooker player, and they sent me the PlayStation version, and I got my money back. Jimmy White Pool, and I never picked it up for Dreamcast. I was like, ah, it's all right. I watched videos and stuff, but this was a pretty cool stealthy game, kind of like a Metal Gear Solid type game, made by, I think it's made by Sega, and they've continued the series over the years on the PS2. Oh, Shenmue 1. If you're a long-time watcher, I broke this case years ago as it fell on the floor when I was doing a video. I turned around and smacked it off the table and it broke. So my friend sold me a case from the thrift store that she had for a PC game, and it fit. So that is Shenmue, one of my favorite games. Dragon Riders, which is a pretty interesting, like, sort of action RPG. The American version of Soul Calibur. Marvel vs. Capcom 2, which is awesome. This is the Japanese version. Vampire Chronicle for Matching Service. This is a very hard to find game because there's a Vampire Chronicles, but the matching service one I believe is harder to find, and this one is VGA compatible. So that's why I picked this one up. It's Night Stalkers or Dark Stalkers. A lot of these Japanese games I picked up from a guy named Anthony on eBay years ago, and we've kept in touch through Facebook and stuff. So what's up, Anthony? Now I have Shenmue 2, which is... Do I have two of them? Why would I have two Shenmue 2s? Or maybe they're just... I don't know. Maybe they're just separate discs. Disc 1, Disc 2, yeah, it has to be separate discs. Disc 3, yeah. The thing about these cases is the hinges always crack. But Shenmue 2, the European version. Densha De Go 2, this is the train simulator game I've played before. I don't have that, but that's like a train controller that you use to manipulate when to stop the train and move and this and that. Put the camera down a little bit more if I can. There's just a little generator demo disc. This is All Japan Pro Wrestling, I believe. This was pretty cool. Token Retsuden 4, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure this is All Japan though, with Masahiro Chono and all the big Japanese wrestler names. This was pretty cool. NFL Quarterback Club 2000. Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver, which I know a lot of people enjoy. Grandia 2, which I've never played. I've only played some of the first one. Tomb Raider The Last Revelation. Hidden and Dangerous. Carrier, which I don't think I played, but I was a big fan of Blue Stinger, so I picked this up. This might not even be VGA compatible, I don't remember. Oh, it says it is. Some games say it on the back and they're not. There's not many, but there are some. This is one of them. Black Matrix Advance. So I really wanted this game. It's a Japanese strategy RPG. It looked really cool. It's like Devils Fighting Angels. It has a little bit of an anime flair. And I bought it, and it's not VGA compatible. So they make it for the Saturn as well. So I could have gotten that one, but I picked up this one because, you know, it's the Dreamcast. It would look and sound better. And it's just not VGA compatible, so I've never really played it. World Series Baseball 2K1. Ready to Rumble Boxing, which is pretty fun. Nightmare Creatures 2. I've always really liked this series. It's pretty fun. Star Wars Episode 1 Racer. The 2.0 web browser. I have a bootleg download of the 3.0 web browser and the XDP. That's what I use. It's a pretty good web browser, and it lets you manipulate your settings for the broadband adapter inside of it. So, Resident Evil Code Veronica. I played a little bit of this. I think it was pretty good. Love this game. Moro Justice Gakuen. This is Rival Schools. I forget what the name of it is. Is it Rival Schools? Rival. It's either a sequel to Rival Schools or it is Rival Schools, but it's like a 2-on-2 like tag fighting game with like high school kids. It's really, really good. One of my favorites. Why is my nose so itchy today? Redline Racer. I think this is the same game I showed earlier. Well, maybe not. This is a different name in America. I forget what it's called. But that's the Japanese version of Redline Racer. Phantasy Star Online version 1, I believe. Yeah, I think this is volume 1. Res, which is the Japanese version. This also came out, I believe, on PS2. And they have a European version. I don't think this got an American release. This was a really good like sound game with shooting elements. Put some of these back and then we'll go to the next bigger box. Hey, that's not a Dreamcast game. Okay, let's go to this next box. This isn't a Dreamcast game. So I won a contest on the Dreamcast Junkyard a couple years back. Hey, Gemma. And he sent me a burn of Dreamcast Aero Fighters 2. This is a pretty cool, like, shmup. And then he sent me Redux Dark Matters, which I'm pretty sure has Dux version 1.5, and then Redux. This is Ucast Games. They make Dreamcast games still. Really cool game. Sonic Adventure with no manual. Let's pull this down. Jesus Christ. That's awkward. Draconis Cult of the Worm. This is a pretty good action RPG. Virtua Fighter 3 TB. This is the Japanese version. Pure Solar, the old school RPG that was made for like many years, that they ported to the Genesis. They made it on the Genesis with the Sega CD soundtrack that plays at the same time. Then they made it for Dreamcast and Xbox. So I have it on Dreamcast. It's open, but I don't think I played it. And then I have it on the Xbox One as a download. So I played that one a little bit, but I never got very far, and it just kind of messed with it. This is, oh geez, this one's, why is the name of this one escaping me? Crap. And I forget why. I think I bought this for the I think I bought this for the microphone because the Alien Front Online didn't come with a mic, so to buy a mic was expensive, but this came with a mic. It's a Japanese game about these little monsters. I can't think of the name of it, and there's nothing in English on this. But you have like these little monsters, and I think you can like go around little things and manipulate them. I don't remember. D2, which I'm always keeping an eye out for a less scratched copy. Got Dreamcast, which lets you play certain PlayStation games on your Dreamcast, and it also has Tekken 3, so this is the Tekken 3 Dreamcast disc. WWF Royal Rumble, which is pretty fun actually. Guilty Gear X, the Japanese version, really good Guilty Gear game. One of my favorite wrestling games of all time, Fire Pro Wrestling. Totally eats me up that the PlayStation 4 got, got the new Fire Pro game and PC got it and Xbox didn't. Oh, I love Fire Pro Wrestling. The Floygan Brothers, a very underrated puzzle like adventure game with these two brothers in a junkyard. Really fun. I finally beat it years ago. Pretty hard in areas. There's also DLC you can get still through the internet, through the browser, through certain websites like Blue Swirl, and then download them on the memory card. So pretty cool. This is just a binder I have with pretty much loose games I've gotten over the years, like if people have given me games. Jet Grind Radio, the Japanese version I think. Tokyo Extreme Racer. These are like the VMU tools you can use, like downloads of like the import enabler for GameShark and stuff, so that I can play, you know, Japanese and European games. Codebreaker, the Dreamcast Sega Smash Pack, Tokyo Extreme Racer 2, the Half-Life bootleg that never came out, the XDP browser, Jet Grind Radio, the American version, and Virtua Fighter, the American version. But I mainly just put them in there because, oh, and this Dreamcast little, you know, binder thing. We're getting there, guys, we're getting there. Suzuki All-Star Extreme Racing, Space Channel 5. This is a great game. This is Fatal Fury, Guru, Mark of the Wolves. This is a Japanese version, really great game. Ultimate Fighting, UFC. This is one of my first Dreamcast games I ever played, and I really liked this one. Even more than some of the newer ones. NFL 2K2. Kiss, Psycho Circus, The Nightmare Child. I always thought this was interesting. It's a little hard and it gets me a little dizzy. Certain FPSs get me a little dizzy with the frame rates. But you play as like the members of Kiss and you can like use special abilities and fight monsters. It was pretty cool. Back when this came out, this was a kind of a big deal on the computer and the Dreamcast. South Park Chef's Love Shack, which is a like a mini game where you play like little mini games and do like questions, almost like a Jeopardy type thing. Sega Bass Fishing and Sega Marine Fishing, which I think I bought these together with the Sega fishing rod, which was pretty cool. It's kind of like the Wii, where you use the fishing rod, use the Wiimote to do things, and then can reel. But it's an actual looking fishing rod. NBA Showtime, NBA on NBC. Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six. Now they're up to like number 15. Sega Rally Championship. Plasma Sword, which is a pretty good fighting game, I heard. A little clunky from what I've heard. NHL 2K, NBA 2K1, a sealed version of the original web browser. Web Mystery Yochimu wo Miru Neko. This is a really weird full motion video game, like point and click adventure with full motion video about being in this bar called the Cat's Eye and you're trying to solve a murder. I actually played through all of this years ago and did a review on it on my channel. The review was just me talking, there's no footage, but I used a Japanese walkthrough and had to translate it with Google Translate and try and figure it out. If it wasn't for that, I would have never beat it. It was very, very hard to play, not being a Japanese speaker. But really cool. I like that one. There's not many games like that, you know? This is, pretty sure this is Techromancer, but in Japanese. It's called Chukosaneki Kikao. I don't know, man. I'm not Japanese. I like Japanese wrestling. I don't know. It's a cool game. Great fighting game. One of my favorite games. Completely underrated. Reminds me of Shenmue. There's some cyberpunk mixed in. There's some shooting mixed in. There's fighting mixed in. There's a lot of stuff mixed in this game. There's really nothing like it, but the closest thing is Shenmue. It's clunky in areas, but I love it. Better on PC, but really good on Dreamcast. Omicron and Nomad Soul got me into David Bowie's music. Still my favorite David Bowie album is Hours, which is on this. Just a great game. If you can get past like the clunkiness, it's an awesome, awesome game. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure from Matching Service. This is weird. The JoJo's Bizarre Adventure doesn't work with the VGA, but if you have the Matching Service version, it does for some reason. And it says VGA on the back, where the first version doesn't. So this is actually really hard to find too for some reason. But I picked this up a few years ago, and now I can play it. Oh, these are the Headhunter discs that were from the case earlier. I don't like those cases, so sometimes I take them out. This is one of the games Anthony sold me. Fighting Vipers 2, really fun Sega fighting game. Definitely check that out, it's a Japanese exclusive. Alice's Mom's Rescue, which is a Ucast game. Little adventure game, I think I showed it off a couple years ago. It's, you know, after the Dreamcast died, Ucast makes games still. Pretty cool. The European edition of Evil Twin. This is a really hard to find game for some reason. It's sort of like an Alice in Wonderland type of Mario type of game, but like darker with really interesting elements. A little difficult. This woman was selling this and the most expensive Neo Geo Pocket Color game, I think it's Evolution Eternal Dungeons, together on half.com when that was still around. I love that site. It's no longer working. eBay got rid of it. They bought them out and stopped, you know, and got rid of it. And she was selling this for like 15, 20 bucks and like the other game for like 20 bucks, and I bought them both. And then I sold the Eternal Dungeons. It's like a Japanese RPG, completely in Japanese. It goes for like $200–300, so I sold it. I didn't keep that one. I wish I did, kinda, because now I have the Neo Geo Pocket Collection back because I repurchased that. But This is like a sought-after game. It's pretty cool. Capcom vs. SNK 2. This game is awesome. Japanese version. Daytona. Let's get away. Daytona, USA. Echo the Dolphin, Defender of the Future. Fantasy Star Online version 2. That's a mouthful. This works with the broadband adapter. It's still online with independent servers, and it's really awesome. Seaman. This is the Dreamcast game with the microphone where you raise a fish and he remembers things, and then he starts talking back to you and making fun of you. Sega Gaga. This is a Japanese RPG where you play a Sega developer and you go through and fight people. It's kind of like Earthboundy, but it's all in Japanese. Lots of inside jokes about Sony and Sega, and you like fight people and stuff. It's really cool, but I just can't read it. But this was really fun. A little expensive. ECW Hardcore Revolution. Sadly, this does not work with the VGA. I love ECW, and this doesn't work with that, so I can't play that. House of the Dead 2, which is just awesome. King of Fighters 2002, which is really good. This is the Japanese version. Record of Lodoss War, which is like a Diablo type game. Blue Stinger, which is a really fun Resident Evil ripoff, but really cheesy. Let me just have a sip of water if you don't mind. Lots of talking. Quake 3 Arena. This is still online with the broadband adapter. Really fun game. This is the Japanese Christmas version of Seaman. It's different than the other one, and it's just rare and hard to come by. It has all these like stickers and stuff. I got a good deal on this years ago, and I know it was hard to come by, so that's why I picked it up. And then I picked up the Knights Sega Saturn Christmas one too. I don't know if it was from the same seller, but it might have been. But supposedly it's hard to find, and I just thought it was interesting. Railroad Tycoon 2. Crazy Taxi. It's a great game. F355 Challenge Passione Rossa. I think it's a Italian racing game. 18-wheeler, American Pro Trucker. Speed Devils Online Racing. I don't think this is broadband adapter compatible, but sometimes I'll buy the online games in hopes that they'll work in the future. Pod Speed Zone, another one that was online that I don't think is online anymore. This is a Japanese game. It's based off, why is his name escaping me? The guy who was the Dreamcast like creator or whatever, or at the helm at the time for Sega. It's like a little mini game where you walk around picking up treasures. I think there was like a real life contest where if you got something in the game and then like showed them that you got it, you'd win something like a Dreamcast. I can't think of the name right now, but something Treasure Hunter. And just a little cool thing that I thought was hard to find and kind of interesting. Power Stone 2, the Japanese version. I love the Power Stone games. Dynamite Deca 2, which is Dynamite Cop. Really great beat 'em up. Awesome beat 'em up. Heavy Metal Geomatrix, which is a pretty cool like arena-based shooter beat 'em up. This was the game with the dual joysticks. Virtual On. That's what I was thinking of. Virtual On, Cyber Troopers, Oratorio Tangram. Pretty cool game. More fun with the joysticks, you know, the dual analogs. Frame Gride, which is like a mech game, sort of like, I guess, is it, not Mech Assault. What's the one that From Software makes that's really customizable? Oh, it's not Mech Assault. What the hell's the name of it? I can see the cover. Anyway, it's sort of like, this is from Software, obviously, so it's very similar. I thought this worked with those dual analog sticks. It doesn't. Japanese version. This was one that was an import that I wanted that isn't in America. Pro Pinball Trilogy. This is the European version. It's a pretty fun pinball game. Elemental Gimmick Gear. This is a really underrated, Zelda type cyberpunky futuristic RPG, action RPG. Cool game, really cool. Silver, this is a pretty cool RPG too. The graphics aren't so great, they're a little small, but good action RPG. This was a cool one, Rent-A-Hero #1. So I think Rent-A-Hero came out on the Genesis, and then they did this Dreamcast version, and he hasn't been seen since. It's a game where you play a superhero, but like he's a fake superhero kind of. This is the Japanese version. It only came out in Japan. And you go around the town and like help people and do things and save people. There's like a Dreamcast in your bedroom and a lot of like Sega references. This is a really cool game. I mean, it's hard without being able to read Japanese, but it's still really fun. So Rent a Hero. Iron Aces. Armada, which is a really cool like spaceship shooter with RPG elements. Dead or Alive 2, no manual on that. Sword of the Berserk, Guts Rage, which is based off the manga and the anime Berserk. Really cool game, very, very hard. The Japanese version of Spawn in the Demon's Hand. Some of these I bought Japanese just because I knew I could play them with the import enabler and they were cheaper. So like this one I think is like, let's say 40 bucks in America. It's like 15 in Japan. So for the same game, and it's not like you really need to know Japanese with a fighting game. Giant Graham 2000 All Japan Pro. So you know what, maybe the other one was New Japan. This is the All Japan Pro one with, yeah, all the guys, you know, Vader's in this, and Stan Hansen I see in the back, and Dr. Death Steve Williams. I think Bruiser Brody. And it looks like Dino what the hell's his name? I can't think of his name. I think he's in this too. The Italian guy with the big nose. Anyway, Giant Graham 2000 is pretty good too for a wrestling game. I don't remember what I preferred. One of them is a little more like No Mercy, and one was a little more like the like WCW kind of games, like Nitro. But they were both pretty good wrestling games. So I think that's it for my Dreamcast collection, guys. Let me know, you know, what you think. If you know anything more about these games that I didn't mention. And if you've played any, and yeah. Thanks guys for watching. I have to pack these all up now and put them away. It's Vampire Mike from Sega CD Universe. Be good.